When's the last time you made lasagna? Did you deal with those big, long, foot-long floppy noodles and boiled them and put them out on the counter and then they started to fall on the floor and all over the place? I gave up on that probably about 10 years ago. I had a couple of disasters with the noodles. But then they invented something. Stay tuned to find out what I used. Well, hello, my friends. It's a dark, dank day, but some new fashions make up for it. It's not raining, but it's cold, and I think fall has probably arrived in full swing. And I decided to make a movie in my new sweater. So remind me to show you this. I'm in fall colors all the way through with my butterscotch amber jewelry, and I'll tell you about that later too. But the night before last, we were sitting there talking about what we'd have. We had been enjoying that wonderful Chipotle chicken corn chowder. In fact, I had 2 bowls for breakfast yesterday morning. I told you I always love that. You know, I have figured out that if there were tons of different types of things laid out in a row, what would I go for first? And I figured out it's a bowl of comforting soup, more particularly something with some pasta in it and probably good old-fashioned chicken noodle soup. I think there is something to what they've always said, that that's comfort food. But at any rate, Moosie said, you know what I would like? And I always get nervous when he says that because I don't know what that means for me in the kitchen that day. He said, you know, I think I'd like some lasagna. Oh, my heart just sank because all of a sudden those horrible images of the pasta, the lasagna noodles being on the walls and the floor and everywhere. But he said he'd like it. I said, oh, I don't think I can make lasagna, especially for the two of us. I said, you know, remember those days when we used to babysit for Colleen's 3 kids when they were little? She always would leave food in the refrigerator, and one of the main things was a big prepared frozen lasagna, a meat lasagna. And that was one of our meals, always, that I would pop in the oven for, oh, it would take forever to cook. But it was good, and the kids loved it, Moosie loved it, and I liked it too. Wasn't one of my favorite meals, but it was good. So I said, remember when we had those? I said, I think they make those now in smaller versions. Well, he didn't answer to that. So I figured that didn't quite appeal to him. So guess what this nice wifey did? That day, I decided to look in my pantry and see what I had and how I could come to grips with making this lasagna. So I found a really nice frozen package of nice lean red meat. I did have onions. I did have tomato paste and pasta and garlic and all that stuff you would put into the meat. And then I said, but the main thing here is ricotta cheese, Parmesan cheese, mozzarella cheese, and of course, the lasagna noodles. So I looked through my cabinet, you know, that one that you always see with all the soup cans and down below the chicken broth and the various boxes of all different kinds of pasta. And guess what I found? Yes, I found 2 boxes of no-boil lasagna noodles. And then I remembered that I had tried or decided I was going to make a lasagna with these noodles that supposedly you just put hard as ever, hard as a rock, right in the bowl, right in the casserole bowl where you do everything. No boiling ahead of time, just so easy. And I thought, oh, how easy is this? So I got the box out and I thought, this is going to make, I can make Moosie a nice lasagna, Italian lasagna for his supper. He'll be surprised. Then I looked and I didn't have any ricotta. I had ricotta, but I cleaned the refrigerator out a couple of weeks ago and the ricotta went in the trash. So you know what I do. You know who I consult yet next. Yes, my good friend, Mr. Google. So I went on Mr. Google and I said, what can you substitute for lasagna with if you don't have ricotta? And number one, he said, well, cottage cheese works well, and a mixture of Parmesan cheese and some other things work well, or a bechamel sauce. Now, I'm familiar with that name, but the ingredients escaped me at the time. So I looked up bechamel. I only had about this much cottage cheese, and it was a mixture starting off with a roux of flour and butter and Parmesan cheese and heavy cream, or half and half, whatever you wanted, and you would mix it and mix it until you had the desired amount of this bechamel sauce that you would pour in for one of the layers, and that was your ricotta. So I made it. I had all those little ingredients. It looked delicious. I threw in some basil pesto and a few other things to make it taste good. And I proceeded to make this lasagna. And I have pictures of it. They are oven ready. All you do is put them in the pan and bake them with everything else. Now I will bake this for 35 minutes with tin foil on the top at 350 degrees, then take the top off and bake it for another 10 minutes. We'll see. I thought I pulled it off. It looked gorgeous with the mozzarella cheese on top. I baked it at 350 for, it said, 35 minutes, and then another 10 with the foil top off. I did everything right. I made 3 layers, and I had 3 layers of this no-boil pasta in the bottom of the pan all the way up. And each time I put my bechamel and my Parmesan cheese and my, what was the other thing that you kept layering? Oh, and my meat sauce, and then another layer, and then another layer. Topped it off with the mozzarella. Well, couldn't wait to serve it that night. Well, my lasagna has cooked for 35 minutes at 350. And now I've taken the foil off, and it will cook for another 10 minutes with the foil off. It looks yummy. Now this is turning into a real rabbit hole story, but you get the gist, right? You know what's going to happen. Well, I'm ready to cut into it. I've cut 2 pieces here on the end, and we are very anxious to try this. And I cut some squares, one for Moosie, one for myself. Well, I'm so excited. These look wonderful. They stayed together. You can see my layers here. Isn't this wonderful? It worked even with all my improvising. It looks terrific. Now I know Moosie's going to want another piece, so let's go eat. This proves that you, even if you don't think you have the ingredients, there is always something that you can use to improvise and get a meal on the table. And a delicious one at that. Prepared it on I think I even used a nice bowl. And I brought it into Moosie, and I don't remember whether I had him taste it or not. It was maybe not a tasting night. As in his words, I don't think he was the guinea pig that night. And then I proceeded to sit down and have my own. I fixed myself a nice glass of, believe it or not, I had some diet squirt. Normally I would be having water, but I thought, oh, this is such a lovely dinner. Let me have some diet squirt with it. Well, I took my first bite. Oh my goodness. Those noodles were, I can't think of a bad enough word. They were tough. They were tasteless. No, not tasteless. They were ugly, whatever the word was. Now, they weren't, they were cooked, sort of. So I thought, oh my gosh. Well, I didn't say anything, but I proceeded to kind of scrape the meat mixture and my beautiful mozzarella cheese and various other things from these noodles, sort of brush these noodles aside. I literally could not eat them. I didn't say a word, didn't say anything to Moosie. And later, he was watching a ball game or something. He came in to the bedroom. He didn't say anything, and I was waiting. And he said, "Well," I said, "Yeah, well, what a disaster." And he said, "Yeah, those noodles didn't work. It just was off." He kept saying, "It doesn't taste the same, whatever." Well, we decided it was a failure.
That's not what I said.
Oh, he says, "Well, say it nice and loud." Moosie's down in Moosie's world right now, and he has something to say about the lasagna.
She asked me how was it, and I said, I know one thing. You love me. That's why you made this.
Oh, that's
you
right.
You loved me.
That's right. He did say that because he knows how much I hated making lasagna in the old days. Oh, that was sweet. He did say that. But then we both decided it was the lasagna from you know where, right? Well, when I came in to take his plate and everything out, and the other part, the kitchen was a disaster. It was one of those kitchens that I just couldn't clean up as I was going along. I had the tomato paste all over the place. I had the bechamel ingredients all over. Everything was everywhere. And it was one of those kitchens, she said, that I thought, okay, I'll wait till the morning. I'll put everything away that has to be preserved. But I didn't do that till about 11 o'clock at night. It was just not my night. But when I came in to get his plate to take out to the kitchen, guess what? What'd you do, Moose, with that meal? Do you remember?
I used it to put soles on my shoes.
No, he ate every single noodle. He didn't push it aside like I did.
Why? I knew you loved me.
I was just going to say, why did you do that? Why did you eat them? You didn't want to hurt my feelings? Oh, that was sweet. But anyway, that's my disaster of my lasagna dinner the other night. Will I use them again? Well, I did some research this time, and I did read that most everyone suggests that you dunk those noodles and let them sit in very hot water for a while to soften them up until they got floppy. Other people said you might want to boil them. Well, what's the sense of having no boiled noodles if you have to do that ahead? And yes, if it made them softer, that would be great. But what if they still didn't taste good? It would still be a flop. So I'm going to show you my pictures of my flop. And I did put the whole rest of the lasagna in the refrigerator. But the next morning, I went through it and I ravaged it. And I pulled out these noodles and I managed to save all the meat sauce, which was good. That was good. And you spend a lot of money by the time you put that whole thing together. And Moosie doesn't know it yet, but I have another meal planned with the meat sauce that's left, and it's an enchilada casserole. All I have to do, I have the flour tortillas. I'm just going to fill them with the meat sauce. And then I have enchilada sauce. I have green sauce. Ooh, you like that?
Yeah.
Good. Well, I have the red sauce, red enchilada, and I have green. So we have to decide what we want to do. So we might have that tonight or tomorrow. So that's my big, long rabbit story, my big, long rabbit hole story of a very bad flop in the kitchen. However, I don't think I had a flop in my new sweater. Now, this is the second sweater that I bought on Amazon, and I showed you the first one, which you loved, and I love it too. I've worn it twice already. And that's the red wine. It's sort of a wine color. It looks very red on the TV. It looks very red on the YouTube, but it is a kind of a wine red. Very pretty, the one with the buttons on the sleeves. Now, my other favorite color for fall that I have seen on the runways when I go through the YouTube runways of all the designers having their fall and winter lines coming out, and especially Ralph Lauren, I did see a lot of black and rust. Now, whether that is an old-fashioned name for this color or what, this is what I call rust. Maybe there's a new name for it. So I did send for this sweater, and I absolutely love it. Now, both of these sweaters, if you decide you want to purchase them yourself, they're heavy knit sweaters. They're not cashmere soft. And if you want to be warm and cozy in big oversized sweaters, these two sweaters are the ones. I'm going to stand up and show you this a little bit. The color is really lovely. And by the way, I have it on with my Revlon Copper Chrome that my daughters and I used to wear years and years ago. Is that blurb on my eye? Did I do it again? Anyway, there's something funny about this, and I'll tell you what it is. I do have it on with my butterscotch amber, and this is my butterscotch amber ring, and this one is just an old cameo that's the same color. But I didn't realize that it had a feature to it, and it is these buttons that go down to here on one side, and they go all the way up to the neck. I don't like the way it separates here, so I am going to fix this. I'm going to take these buttons off, and I'm going to add a button. I'm going to change them all. Instead of 4 buttons, I'm adding 6, filling in here. And I'll probably do gold or silver or something, only because I think it's a nice accent, but I don't know why. Now, the other thing, remember I said I am not wild about things around my neck. Now, this is a little bit itchy, I must admit, but I am getting used to it. And if I leave the top button open here, which you don't notice, it makes it feel a little better for me. But I do love it. It's a cable front. Can you see the cable? There it goes there. I'll hold up my necklace. You can see the cable down the front, and it's nice and long. Most of the sweaters that I order on the large side, and I love oversized sweaters because they'll come down and cover the butt too. And they are cozy. I finally ordered a pair of shoes that I've had in my save for later, and they're these. Now, they look a little different, but honestly, in real life, they're almost the same color. And I did read that good loafers are part of fall shoes for comfortable, safe shoes in the daytime. And I love these loafers. They have a little bit of gold here. Very, very comfortable, and they go with everything. One of the other trends for this fall is, you guessed it, fringe. So I dug out one of my little shoulder bags, and this I can wear with it too. And I have on black slacks, so the rust and black colors together really are nice. It's mainly the color that I absolutely love, and the warmth right now on this cold day. So this is one of my other new sweaters that I've put together with black because I love rust and black, and one of the new trends. You know, I do have a vest that I told you a whole big long rabbit hole story about the day that Debbie sent home a bunch of clothes to Margie, not to me for a change. So when she gave them to me and I put them in my car, she said, now these are from Margie, remember. So the day I dropped off the clothes, I went down to Margie's school. She's a school nurse. And she came out to the car, and I said, oh, look at this, big, there were 2 big bundles of clothes. And Margie said, Debbie already told me they're all for me. And I said, yep, I'm not going to take any. So I proceeded to open the back door, reach in, and right on top I saw something that I said, oh, she said, oh no. I said, oh, look at this. And I pulled it out, and it was a rust-colored suede vest with fringe on it. I said, oh, Margie, I love this. She said, okay, you can have one. That's it. So I did take it home, and I'm going to show it to you in one of the next videos. I think it fits in with this year's fringe trend in boots. Have you seen the boots with the fringe on them? All sorts of purses, big purses. I'm sure somewhere in my stash of purses, I have a big purse with fringe. And also on anything else, purses, boots, hats, whatever, and vests. Now, the other trend that's going right now is ponchos. So I have enough of those. So I'll pull those out and show you some of my ponchos as the fall and winter goes on. Okay, now to get to the sad news of the morning. And maybe I'll let Moosie talk about it. But how many of you watched the Dodger game last night against the Toronto Blue Jays? Did I hear a squeak out of Moosie? I think he's crying down there. Oh, we were all set. Matthew came up. In fact, I do have a little clip of Matthew with Moosie in the beginning of the game. They were so excited. Matthew brought up big hero sandwiches and potato salad, and he wanted his own cut. He'd pick out the sandwiches, he said. And I offered to Matt, no. He said, I'll bring the Sammies and whatever. So I had some guacamole and chips, and they had a great time in here. Well, it's 5 o'clock, and what starts?
Dodger baseball.
Oh, Dodgers.
Moosie and Matthew are all settled in with their subs and their guac, and I saw that the Dodgers are supposed to win this 58% only.
And I win a bunch of money.
Who said that?
I have a bet
You have a bet. Good boy.
in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, after tonight, that percent's going to go up to about 70.
Really?
Yeah, we'll see. 58%.
Well-
Sounds like a crooked, somebody's cooking the books there.
Well, I read that the Dodgers are a juggernaut. What's that? A juggernaut means they've got it made.
Clinched.
Yeah. But somebody said that the Blue Jays could pull it off.
And
Hardy, har.
And somebody else said, so I've been reading all the news here. Somebody else says that whoever has Ohtani is going to win.
right.
I sat in the bedroom, and Matthew was a little late in arriving. So they missed the beginning. So what Moosie did was he taped it. So by the time Matt got here and got settled and the initial gab was over with, they put it on. Well, it was probably in the beginning about 45 minutes late. Well, I went into my bedroom in there thinking I was going to watch something else and just listen to them, hoop and holler out here in the living room. But I decided to turn the game on. Well, I wasn't on, what do you call that, Moose?
Tape delay.
I was watching the game in real time, so I knew 45 minutes ahead of time what was happening. And every time that the Blue Jays made a point, they didn't know it. They'd wait. And then all of a sudden, they kept forwarding until finally they did catch up, and they were, poor guys. It was not too fun, was it, Moosie?
Not at all.
No. And he had thought, by the way, that he had lost his favorite LA Dodger hat, which Matthew bought him how many years ago?
5.
5 years ago during a World Series game.
Yeah, they won the World Series.
That was the
in
year
2020.
that 2020 they won the World Series, and Matthew bought him that hat. And of course, as you know, he's worn that ever since then. So we thought we had lost it. I have looked everywhere. And 2 days ago, I was riding in the car, and you know how those things, all of a sudden, that you've totally forgotten about, they've left your memory, something pops into your head. And Moosie and I were riding in the car. In fact, we were on the way home from the doctor. And I said, I remember where the hat is. And he said, where? I said, We left it at the eye doctor's office 3 weeks ago. And I had called them when we got home that day and said, oh, guess what we left behind? Of course, they all know Moosie and his Dodger gear. Oh, yeah, we know. We have it. We'll take good care of it. Well, yesterday morning, I stopped by the doctor's office and I went in. I said to the ladies, well, you know what I'm here for. And they laughed because everybody, the hype on the Dodgers here in LA, you can imagine. So the whole waiting room was just filled with a lot of people. So I got the hat, which is pretty seasoned, by the way. And I held the hat up and I said, I had to get this for tonight. And all these people said, oh, yeah, Dodgers, go Dodgers, go Dodgers. Well, maybe you shouldn't wear the hat tonight. I don't know. But another game is tonight. Matthew is coming up again. And let's hope for another. Oh, no, not another. Let's hope for a happy night tonight. I am getting my Halloween costume together. And while I was doing that yesterday afternoon, I was doing quite a bit of purging from my shed. Really, I'm getting proud of myself. I'm able to make some good decisions on things that I know I will never use in the next however long I'm here. And at the same time, I was trying to find my hats. You know, I have a nice collection of hats. In my closet, of course, I've got straw hats galore. But in the shed, I had a number of very, very stunning hats that I wear on Halloween. So I will give you a hat show in the next video. In fact, I'll put on all my garb, my Halloween garb, and I think we might have to get in a car and go somewhere to see our little children because nobody comes up this hill anymore to get candy. So if we want to be a part of the joy of a Halloween night with some little kids, we might have to visit some of them. That's for sure.
Yay!
Maybe. Well, you will probably have this tonight, Saturday night. And as you know, we have an appointment on Monday to see Moosie's oncologist to finally find out the PET scan results. So continue your prayers, my friend. We are very appreciative of all your well wishes and your prayers. Moosie's feeling fine and our attitude is great. I'll hopefully have another video for you in another day or two. I'm feeling real good about getting some of these things out. I seem to have more to say. Oh, and I'll let you know how our enchilada turns out. Goodbye, my friends. Thanks for being such loyal friends, for being here with us. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please join our family. We would love to have you here with us. Lots of love, and God bless us all, everyone, everywhere.